The downside of grappling. So this, of course, is purely from a self-defense point of view. This isn't from a match fighting point of view. If it's a one-on-one match fight, 9 times out of 10, the better grappler will beat the better striker. For self-defense purposes, most kickoffs are going to start at about 1.5 feet, which is punching distance. Why would I throw that away to come in and grapple with you? Once I've grappled with you, I'm now tying up both of my arms. This gives you the opportunity, of course, to use your free arms to access and utilize a weapon. Could be a knife, could be a bottle, could be a club, whatever. If you're one of the homeless druggies around here, it could be a syringe full of your own diseased piss. Once I grapple with you, I'm now dependent on what? Because I'm guessing if I'm grappling with you, my idea is to get a throw on you. Going for a takedown, where I'm actually coming down to the ground with you, would be ludicrous in a real fight because, again, what if you've got mates with you? So I go to the ground while you hold me. Before I can implement anything on you, your mates have come and just kicked my head off my shoulders. There's a visual from a few years ago. If I can find it, I will link it in the description. It's two guys who clearly neither of them know what they're doing on the ground, but that's not the point. The point is they're both on the ground. The guy on top is holding the other guy's wrists. The guy on the bottom, it's either his wife or his sister or some woman who knows him, comes over and just goes bang, kicks the guy on top right in the chin. He slumps down unconscious. The other guy gets up, he and the woman walk off. Now, a lot of people at some point, yeah, but neither of them are trained on the ground. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is they went to the ground, the guy on top, who was the dominant, who was winning, got kicked in the face by a friend of the guy on the bottom. It's very hard to kick someone in the face if you're all standing up. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. If you go to the ground with someone, you're going to get kicked in the face. There's a story in Watch My Back, the great Watch My Back by Jeff Thompson, where a bouncer starts rolling around with a guy on the ground. The girlfriend of the guy takes off her shoe, hits the bouncer in the back. It's a stiletto heel. It goes through, punctures his lung. The bouncer dies on the pavement, waiting for the ambulance to show up. We don't willingly go to the ground. We don't willingly grapple because numbers become a factor at that point. Numbers are always an issue, but if you've got pretty good hands, you can cope with numbers. I'll get into that in a minute. With grappling, I've just tied up both my hands to throw you. I've tied up both my hands to try to control you or to try and use a submission. Again, it's a very different syllabus if we're talking about security work. With security work, we need to know how to grapple. We need to know how to restrain people. I will just say very quickly, even a 9 stone or 10 stone person, if they don't want to be restrained, they're going to be a handful. When you take that person now and add drugs to the mix, it's going to be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to pin them down. Even if you're 10 stone heavier and you've got a really good judo background, which is, I say judo because we're based on pins, or any of the amateur wrestling styles, it's still going to be a nightmare. It's still going to be an absolute nightmare to hold that person down, which is why we don't really want to be holding restraining someone in terms of self-defense. For grappling for self-defense, holds and restraints should be out of the question to begin with, because the whole point of self-defense, the objective is to get away from the danger as quickly as possible. I can't get away from the danger if I'm holding the danger down. I can't restrain you whilst escaping from you. It doesn't work that way. As Jeff Thompson has said, the best restraint is unconsciousness. Take that for what it's worth. The problem with grappling is numbers become an issue, weapons become an issue. What type of terrain are we on? So you could be a really, really great wrestler with great takedowns. If we're at a posh function somewhere and we're wearing brogues on a hardwood polished floor, you shoot off to go for that takedown, your feet go from under you, you splat face first. I then hoof you in the face because I'm not a very nice person and you just tried to attack me. So all of this type of thing has to be taken into account. Have you got the clothing to grapple? So I know I've mentioned this in the other video, but if you're at a posh function and you're wearing a suit, la-di-da, have you got the movement in the elbows, in the shoulder to lift your arm high enough to get that throw? Yeah? Can you lift your arm high enough to get the throw? Or are you going to get it to there and the way it's made is going to cut you off at the shoulder? Clothing becomes an issue. Our main issue for grappling is we don't want to be tying up our hands. We've got to take into account the person we're rolling around with or grappling with might have friends. He's not by himself. We take into account that while we're using both of our hands to grapple with them, they're pulling out their knife and slicing us open. We take into account the terrain we're on. The main thing is we've got to take into account the objective of self-defense is to get ourselves away from the danger. And as I said, I can't escape from you if I'm holding on to you as tightly as I can. So, again, grappling is worth knowing. I'm a judo guy through and through, but grappling in relation to self-defense, we need a handful of throws that you will train and practice that you will then strip down to 2 or 3 throws. Those 2 or 3 throws are throws that you can use on anybody regardless of their weight or their build or their height. Those 2 or 3 throws you will then drill again until they become second nature. Grappling on the ground, for self-defense purposes, should all be about getting out from underneath the other person so we can make our escape. That's it. So if you agree or disagree, if you have anything to say, please pop it in the comments. If you disagree with what I've said, pop it in the comments and let me know why you disagree with what I've said. Don't just go, "I'm fucking wrong, Liv." Explain to me why I'm wrong. I'm open-minded. If you can explain to me why I'm wrong on this, I'll take it on board. But I need you to be coherent, write actual proper sentences to let me know why I got it wrong. I look forward to it. If you have seen somebody using grappling that works really, really well for self-defense, pop the link in the comment section. Let me know about them. I look forward to reading it.